Hi everyone, thanks for joining me once again for another video. Okay, if you're a regular viewer of my channel Thailand Bound, you'll remember I made a video about opening bank accounts here in Thailand for long-term residents. Now, in that video, I'd actually said that I don't know of any way for a tourist to open a bank account, but actually a tourist can open a bank account because I've been in touch with Peter from Thai Legal Protection here in Thailand, and we've decided to do another video. I've done some videos with Peter in the past. The last video I did with Thai Legal Protection was with David, who is Peter's partner in the company. That was regarding getting spouses or partners back to your home country. But Peter's here once again as my guest, and he's going to explain how to open up a bank account as a tourist, short-term or long-term. And there's several ways you can do it apparently, which I don't know of, so I'm quite interested to hear this information myself. And Peter's also going to fill us in on some other bits and pieces of information that you might find very useful for when you next visit Thailand. Okay, so let's not waste any time. Let's bring my guest in today, Peter from Thai Legal Protection. Thanks for joining me again, Peter. It's always good to catch up with you and get your valuable information. So, as you know, I recently made a video about opening a bank account here in Thailand, and in that video, I said I don't actually know if you can open an account on a tourist visa. And since making that video, I've had a chat with you, and apparently you can do it. You know a way of doing it. So I'm just mystified and looking forward to finding out how somebody can do that.
Okay, all right. Well, we can help somebody to do it, or I'm going to give your viewers maybe some tips first, and then they can maybe decide for themselves if they want to try or if they want to reach out to us first. Okay, but so when you want to open up a bank account as a tourist, first thing you have to understand is that there's two types of tourists. There's a long-term tourist that comes and goes over the course of a year. And then there's a short-term tourist that maybe just comes every once in a while and wants a bank account because they want to transfer their money into it for their holiday instead of risking other things by carrying a lot of cash around or losing one of their bank cards. So that's what we can help out with in both scenarios. Okay. And so the first thing that people are going to want to know is well, what do I have to provide to the bank if I want to open up a bank account on a tourist visa? So the first thing is, of course, your original passport. Okay. Second thing is a second piece of ID from your home country in English. So in other words, driver's license, which shows your recent photo, your date of birth. It has to be valid, and then also it has to be in the English language, because if it's not, then they won't understand it. Okay. And then a piece of a document about your residency in Thailand. And this is the document that is a problem for some people if they're a short-term tourist. And so in those cases, that's the document. And one of the big scope of work that we do if we open up a bank account for somebody is we'll get that document for them. It's called a residence certificate. Okay. And then basically as we all know, there's different banks in Thailand. Kasikorn Bank, SCB, Bangkok Bank, and so many other banks. Okay, so the main bank that people use for their bank account here is Bangkok Bank. Why? Because they seem to be more foreigner friendly when it comes to opening up bank accounts for, let's say, a retirement visa or even a tourist visa. But Kasikorn Bank is also good as well. And so what we do is in our membership, we provide this service to our members at a discounted rate to open up the bank account for them on a tourist visa. So, if you become a member, then we'll be able to help you out with that.
Okay, so is it possible for somebody who comes here, because it's not actually you don't get a visa when you enter the country, it's a non-exempt stamp to allow you to come in as a tourist. Is it possible for people to do that by themselves or not? Is it just a case of they haven't got the paperwork? Because what I had to show was I only had to show a tenancy agreement of my apartment, my passport, like you quite rightly said, and they wanted some kind of an ID from the owner of the apartment or the tenancy agreement. I showed them the tenancy agreement. There was something else I had to show them. I can't remember offhand. But if somebody just comes here, say, for a month, but they come here regularly and they want to open a bank account. Is that possible?
Sure. And there's two types of scenarios where somebody would come here as a tourist that would qualify to open up a bank account on a tourist visa. The first one is the one that you mentioned, called the visa exemption. Okay. So they come here on the 30-day visa exemption, and then you would need to get the bank account within the first 10 days of that. If you go past the first 10 days, there isn't enough time left on your visa for the bank to qualify for you. The second type of visa that you would have to get is a little bit more difficult to get, but it's the single entry tourist visa from the Thai embassy. Gives you 60 days permission to stay. And that gives you more than enough time to set up the bank account, because you would just do it in the first 20 days.
Right. So why is it more preferable to go through your company rather than somebody to just go to the bank and do it themselves? Is there a lot of obstacles that they have to get through and it's difficult, and you can make it a lot easier? I mean, could you explain what you do as opposed to somebody else would do if they just went into the bank as a tourist and tried to open an account?
Sure. So first of all, with putting aside all the other benefits of the Thai Legal Protection membership, just to talk about the bank account. So the first thing that I mentioned, at the beginning of the video was, the residence certificate or the proof of residence. So if you're a long-term tourist, you'll probably be able to provide that. But if you're a short-term tourist, you won't be able to. So that's the first benefit.
That was a third thing. Sorry to cut in, but that was a third thing I couldn't remember that they wanted from me. They wanted the residence certificate, which obviously I have as a long-term. Okay.
Yeah. So you can get that from immigration or your home country embassy. There's a specific document that you would apply for. But the second thing is, if you just start going around and you just decide to visit your local Kasikorn Bank or your local Bangkok Bank where you've decided to live, what you're going to find is you're going to get a different answer from different branches, even a different branch of the same bank. Okay. So you're going to see reports of that online where guys went into 6 different branches before they were successful. And what I mean by 6 different branches is the 6 different branches of the same bank. So we already have the bank branch that we use for all of our tourist visa bank accounts. And they never give us a problem because we have an arrangement with them and they take care of our members. And so that's basically the 2 reasons. I'm not saying that you absolutely have to use our service to get this bank account on a tourist visa, but not a lot of people want to spend their holidays going around to 6, 7, 8 different branches to try to find one that's going to open a bank account for them. And there's obviously the language barrier too. If they end up going into a branch where they don't speak English very well, they might just get turned away just because they're a foreigner and they don't even want to deal with you.
Yeah, sure. And what are the benefits really of living here? Obviously, you want to have bank accounts. I have 2 bank accounts, but the 2 you mentioned, Bangkok Bank and Kasikorn Bank. But what are the benefits for somebody who comes here on a 30-day non-exempt? What is a benefit from them having a Thai bank account?
Okay. Well, I guess the first thing is convenience. Okay, because you don't have to worry about paying with cash. You can basically just take the Bangkok Bank app or the Kasikorn Bank app, for example, and you could go and pay everybody using that application on your phone. So what that means is you can go to a street food vendor, shopping mall, restaurant, you go into a bar, and you can somehow pay them electronically. So that's very convenient. You don't have to carry a lot of money with you. So that means that it's also safer. Number 2, okay, it's safer. And then we have to look at, for some tourists, everybody's afraid of getting dinged on the ATM for the service charges, and they're worried about, am I going to get a good rate? So what a lot of tourists do when they have a bank account is they'll transfer, their vacation money to their Wise account, for example, and then from there into their Thai bank account, and that gives you the best rate. And then also it's safe because you don't need to carry cash anymore.
Yeah, I've noticed now in Thailand recently, particularly, that it's becoming a cashless society, because I myself, I love the fact that you can just carry your phone around and scan everything. You go into a restaurant and you just QR code it. I go shopping, I QR code it. It's very rare I use cash myself. So it's a really good, it's good to do it that way. Like you say, you don't have to carry lots of cash. I recently found out that you can actually withdraw cash without even using an ATM card. I made a video about it, and some people said, "Oh, that's really dangerous because if somebody gets your phone, they could empty your account," which is rubbish actually, because you know yourself, unless they've got your banking passwords and stuff, just because they got your phone, it doesn't mean they can access your bank account. Is that something you use quite regular, Peter?
I use it. Let's say I have a different account, like a second bank account, and I don't. I keep my spending money in one account, then I have a separate account for other stuff. And if I have to access that account, and I want cash for some reason, there's sometimes you do need cash, right? So what I'll do is there's two ways to do it. The first way is you can pre-set up the withdrawal, and you'll have a QR code ready to, when you go to the bank machine, or you can just go to the bank machine and you can actually set it up right there and then on a bank machine. And, why that's good is because you just, use your phone, keep your bank card at home. So that way that if it, you don't risk losing it. If you lose your phone, especially if it's an iPhone, for example, you just wipe the phone off, it'll erase it remotely. Right, you basically just replace your phone again, and your bank card's safe at home. And if you don't have any money or access to your funds, but your bank card's at home, you just find somebody that'll drive you home, hail down a taxi, go back to your place, ask the taxi guy to wait, go upstairs, grab your ATM card, which you didn't bring with you because you're smart, go back down, taxi takes you to the ATM, you withdraw the money, the next day you go replace your phone.
Yeah, because what catches a lot of guys out here is the fact that, I don't know about America, but in Europe, when you use an ATM machine, it will give you your card back first, and then it asks you to take your cash. Whereas in Thailand, it's the other way around. It gives you the cash, and then it gives you the card second. And because people have got that mindset that once they get their cash, they can walk away. A lot of guys here in Thailand, they take the cash, they walk away, and about 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, they realize, oh, I've left my card in the machine. They go back and the card's not there. A lot of times they can retreat, they can go into the bank and get the card back. But if they use the card in, let's say, an ATM outside 7-Eleven, it makes life very, very difficult. So, okay, so to round it off, what you're saying is if somebody just wants an easy life, we'll talk about your membership for your company, you and David's company. It's actually just easier to, when you get here, give yourself a ring and just basically say, look, I want to open a Thai bank account, and you can take care of everything.
Sure. And then, of course, as a member, you'll get so many other benefits. And I'll just kind of name the one that's really good for tourists. Okay. So, with our emergency line that we have for accidents and trouble with the police, we've added something now, which is very useful for tourists. So what we'll do is we'll give the tourists a consent form. They'll sign it, and they'll agree to share their emergency contacts and their travel insurance with us. So then we'll give them a special medical card. They'll stick it in their wallet. If they're incapacitated, and they're not able to communicate with anybody, they'll go into their wallet, find this card, call us up, and we'll verify that they're a legitimate emergency services person, police, or from the hospital. And then we'll provide them with the emergency contact details, and we'll also give them a copy of the travel insurance for the hospital. So that's a big plus for tourists.
Yeah, that's a great service, because I can just see the scenario. Some guy goes down to Phuket, he rents a big motorbike, takes a corner too sharp, maybe had a beer, which he shouldn't have done, and like you say, he's in hospital, and that is a really handy service to have. So okay, look, let's talk about your membership and what your company does, because there are people who come out here, they end up in jail at 3 o'clock in the morning in Lumpini police station, which I know you can help them out with. You can help out with contracts that are written in Thai, bank accounts, the whole scenario. So why don't you just talk a little bit about pricing and what they get, and before you answer that, I just would like to ask you, is when you join as a membership, is there any minimum time that you're tied into, or can you come here for a month, do 1 month, and then that's it, so you're covered for that 1 month?
Yeah, so there's no contract, and the member can sign up and then cancel right within their profile. So what usually happens is that, let's say a guy will come over for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, he'll buy the membership. After he goes back home, he'll pause the membership, and then when he comes back, he'll just reactivate it again. So it's as simple as that. There's no contract. It's 795 Thai baht per month. So we already mentioned the emergency line and the emergency medical card your emergency contacts and your travel insurance. So those are the real two big benefits for tourists. But sometimes tourists have other issues, like if they visited Thailand many times during one calendar year, sometimes immigration will give them a hard time when they arrive because they don't think they're really a legitimate tourist. So a lot of the guys will call us up and say, listen, I've been here 6 times this year. I've heard rumors that I might not be able to come on another tourist visa again, right? So we'll be able to say, okay, these are the things that you can do to minimize the chances of you getting refused entry. So they can basically call us up before their holiday and they can ask us about stuff like visas. Then if you're an expat, what you can do is you can call in if you have a contract that you want us to review, like a lease contract. You know, the video that we did a little while ago about renting a condo, right? So you can do that. If you have any legal question about opening up a business, you want to get married, you're already married, you want to get divorced, you need a prenuptial agreement, you want to take your wife or fiance or girlfriend back to your home country, we can help you with that sort of thing. And so we can basically do pretty much everything, Pete. And so that's what the membership covers. And like I said, there's no obligation. You can cancel at any time.
Yeah, it's quite a good service. In fact, people probably don't know this, but I'm actually a member of your services as well, because I think it's a good service. I've been obviously to meet David, your partner, on Wireless Road here in Bangkok, where your head office is. But you cover the whole of Thailand. It's not just Pattaya or Bangkok, is it? You can.
Yep. Yeah. So our service covers all of Thailand. We have, if certain things can't be resolved under the membership, then we have a network of service providers that will give our members discounts for any service that's not covered under the membership. And we have a really good one in Pattaya, which is obviously one of the most popular destinations. And it's called a one-stop visa and driver's license. And they do a lot of our legal work for us. If nobody knows that they do legal work as well. I know you have a visa agent that most of your guys choose, but in Pattaya, our authorized service provider does other things, not just visas.
Okay, because I work with Lana from Farang Visa. I find she gives a very, very good service. That's who I personally recommend.
Too. Yeah, she does too. Yeah, she's excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, look, just to round things off now. So if any of you guys are watching this video and you think, hey, that's something I could use, something I could do, I'm going to Thailand next month for a month, whatever, and you're interested in finding out more information and possibly joining a member on Thai legal protection, I'm going to pin a link in the comments. So after you've watched this video, go to the comments. The top comment will be pinned by me, and that will have a link in it that goes directly to Peter and David's website, and you can phone them, email them. They're very accessible, and you can ask whatever questions you want. And if you feel like it's a service that could benefit you, then you can go ahead and join that for a month or for as long as you want to. Correct, Peter?
Correct.
Right, brilliant. Okay, well, look, I just want to say thank you once again, Peter. It's always interesting to hear your valuable information. You know a lot of things, obviously. And one other thing that I think we'll just mention to viewers is that you do work with several Thai lawyers as well, don't you? So, for instance, if somebody found themselves in a police station at 3 o'clock in the morning and they weren't speaking English, you could get a Thai lawyer to help them out and sort out that situation, possibly, at that time of night, right?
Sure. Yeah. If the guys don't know, foreigners can't practice law here. So what we do is we just do a lot of consulting. But actually, our company, we have Thai lawyers in place that handle all of the litigation matters and all the instances where they have to deal with the Thai authorities in court or at the police station, and they all speak English, so there won't be any communication issues as well. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. That'll help a lot of people out, because I do, I read stories out on my channel, and there has been quite a lot of guys who have found themselves in at the deep end, as it were. Okay, Peter, thank you very much for doing this video with me again today. It's always valuable information. And I believe we're scheduled to do another one in a month or so. You did mention the subject, and I've totally forgotten what it is. What is the next one? Yeah,
I think we were going to talk a lot about safety again. And some of the things that the guys should be aware of and how they can protect themselves. And I know there's a lot of videos out there about that, but they're, very general stuff that it talks about, what you shouldn't do and what you shouldn't do when you're, involved in some of the nightlife stuff. But I think we're just going to go into a little bit more detail when it comes to some of the legal stuff to be, that you need to be concerned about. And I think it'll be good for the guys to, look at it from a different perspective.
Yeah, okay. I'm very interested to hear some of those some of that information as well. So that'll be our next video. So something else to look out for. But for today, Peter, thanks again. It's always enjoyable, and I'm sure a lot of people will find this information interesting. And yeah, I'll see you in about a month's time to do the next video.
Thanks a lot, Pete. It's good to see you again.
Thanks, Peter.